Hey everybody, you're just in time for What's Hot. This is where we talk about the stories that have us all talking. Is my tie straight?
Yes, it's straight.
Okay, good.
Well, we are joined by local blogger Rochelle Fritsch, and also Jeff Wagner is back with us. Well, this controversial decision has a lot of people talking. No criminal charges will be filed in Corey Stingley's death. Stingley died last December after being held down in a West Allis convenience store for shoplifting. The Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office decided the customers involved did not mean to cause the young man's death. So the question is, do you think charges should have been filed?
Here's how I analyze this, and I don't know that the district attorney in Milwaukee County, John Chisholm, has a more vocal critic than myself for a lot of stuff that he ends up doing. This decision is correct. It is unfortunate that the young man died. It is a tragedy. But in order to sustain criminal charges, you have to be able to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Looking at this investigation, I just don't think they would have been able to meet that burden. They certainly couldn't prove that the people intentionally tried to kill him. Then the other standard is like some sort of reckless homicide. I just don't think they would have been able to prove it. There undoubtedly will be civil action, but I just don't think you could have sustained criminal charges.
I mean, it's a difficult situation, and I was kind of reading over and looking at those same things. I certainly can feel for the family, and I understand that they want justice. But at the same time, if it can't be proven, then it isn't just to charge people with something that they didn't intend, and they can't prove that they did intend to do. It's just sad all around, and I don't know if there's any good outcome to this at all.
Well, no, the young man is dead. I do want to add one other thing, though, and look, I certainly understand the grief the family is going through. One of the things that has bothered me, especially over the last day or two, is the efforts from some people to try to view this through a racial prism. You know, I've seen these news releases that are saying, likening this to the Trayvon Martin case, and you know, this shows that young African-American men can be killed with impunity in the city. As far as I know, there is absolutely no evidence that would suggest that these three guys who are in this convenience store, who see the kid shoplifting and then get into the struggle, that this was in any way, shape, or form racially motivated. And I guess I really believe we set back the cause of racial justice in this community by trying to racialize everything, and I think that's unfortunate. You know,
and I do agree with you, but I also think that's what makes this whole thing more complicated, because we know we live in a hyper-segregated city. It's one of the most segregated cities in the country, and we also know that there's been tensions in the past between the races, between law enforcement, and so this does make it more complicated. And I hear what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying, that there's no proof of anything being racially motivated, but it's set against a backdrop of our history and what's going on, as well as current events. This is kind of what stirs the pot and makes it all the more complicated.
And I guess I'm just saying that I think this makes those real examples of racism that do exist, this makes it sort of worse when those occur, you know, if we're going to be trying to view everything through the racial prism. Unfortunate situation, though.
All right, coming up next, we reveal the viewer's choice topic today.
And Brian Goddard will be back with another look at your hot, and it's our viewer's choice topic of the day.
Again, we are joined by Rochelle Fritsch and Jeff Wagner from 620 WTMJ. The viewer's choice topic that you, the viewers, have chosen: should schools start later to help the sleep pattern of teens? I thought they just slept until 1 in the afternoon. Here in the Metro, Shorewood High School considering a later start to the school day. If you left a teen to their own devices, they would sleep the day away.
Well, but fortunately, their parents get to make this decision.
And they'd stay up till 3 in the morning. That's the other. I mean, you know, they'd stay up till 3 in the morning. They'd sleep the day away. Yeah, here's what I don't understand about Shorewood. They've got a 50-minute lunch hour. It's the longest lunch hour, I think, in the metro area. Wow. And that's part of the problem. I understand that's when they have their club meetings and stuff. You know, because the problem is, if you start later, that typically means then the day runs later, you know, so you have to, you know, go to like 3:30 or something. I don't think 7:30 is unreasonably early, but I'm the guy that doesn't have to be at work till noon, so what can I say?
Isn't that nice? Well, no, also, I mean, all of that, but the other thing I'm thinking about, too, isn't high school supposed to be preparing our kids to get out and be adults in the real world, whether that means they're in college or that means that they're starting a job? Now, if we're catering to sleep patterns, that's not preparing them, because I guarantee you, in neither of those scenarios, Is your employer going to be changing hours to suit you, or are your college classes going to be changing hours to suit you? So, not a good idea.
See, I understand sometimes when, when you have the really early school starts where you have the kids have to be out on the, at the bus stop at 6:15 in the morning. I get where there might be an issue, but this is I believe it's a 7:30 start. I guess, again, that's not, would I like to have to be somewhere at 7:30? No.
I feel like going into a back in my day rant that I'm afraid I would just make myself seem like a crotchety old man.
What time did you have to be at school?
I was up at 5 a.m. to catch a 6 o'clock bus.
He caught the bus.
I thought you walked uphill.
To be at school at 10 after 7 for a class that started at 7:40.
Now, having said that, I admit in college and in law school, I hated those 8 a.m. classes. So I understand. Maybe this is kind of the old fogey, do as we, say, not as we necessarily did. I hated those 8 a.m. classes that you had to get to.
All right.
All right. Well, that continues our discussion here on air, but the discussion always